What is up, guys? It is Simba here, and welcome to my first league racing video on F125. And we're starting things off with a social race in Top Tier Championship, formerly known as AEC, for the Australian Grand Prix. But before we get into that, I want to say a big thanks for 600 subscribers. You guys seem to have loved the controller settings video I put out the other day, and I'm really glad it's helping a lot of you out. And I'm so glad that we've managed to hit 600 subscribers so quickly. The subscriber count has been flying, and the content doesn't stop there, because we're going to start things off in Australia in a more competitive environment. And if you're enjoying the content so far and would like to see more, be sure to hit the like button and get subscribed for more league racing content and F125 content in general. There's a lot coming up on this channel this year, and I really hope to improve the editing and stuff to make sure that you guys get the best quality of videos possible. But you can see we're in the Aston Martin, ready to start our first proper qualifying lap on F125. So DRS wide open, and we barrel down the main straight towards the first corner, where it's very easy to invalidate. What a start that is. What a start that is. We did finish the lap. It was a 15.7, but oh dear Christ, I don't think you could do that any worse. But anyway, on to the second lap. We don't get it wrong through the first two corners, and look at that, the delta has gone up to nearly half a tenth already as we head down towards turn number 3, braking at the black box down to third. We just don't quite clip the apex there, but we're maintaining decent speed through turn 4, where you don't really want to clip the curb on the inside there, but we get away with it. And it's not exactly the first sector I've been hoping for. It's a 0.2, which is decent, but I know that there are some guys in this lobby who can go a little bit quicker, so we need to find a bit more time. Turn 6 was on the limit. You can see we're not exactly gaining so much time here, but this is going to be a mistake that's going to be very costly. Down the gears, down to 7th through turns 9 and 10. We don't turn the ERS down to medium. We were in hot lap there, and that's why we fly off into the gravel. But because we're the only person without a valid lap, we might as well complete this lap anyway, even though it's an absolute disaster. So coming through the final sector now, down to third. Nice flick with the wheel, and through the final corner, not exactly carrying the best speed. We have a bit of a moment with the wall there as well, and that is horrendous.
Absolutely terrible. Jesus.
And the reaction is justified, because that is a terrible lap. 16.2. And you can tell it's my first league race in quite a while, but it's the first race for everybody in this lobby, and everyone looking to get on the right foot here in the opening days of the game, as we're going to have one more go at this. Just the one lap left, 18 seconds remaining as we cross the line, and we barrel down towards turn 1 again. Down to 5th, not exactly getting the cut that we want, and there's a car off on the right hand side, and that doesn't throw us off, but we are a 10th down on that first sector. Down the gears from 7th to 3rd. We do a better job of getting the apex, but we're still down on the delta. We go a little bit wide through 4, and it's not the first sector that we've been looking for in this session, as we are essentially a 10th down. It's a 0.3, but that won't matter, because through 6, we fly off again. Well, not quite flying off, but it's over the line, and that is an invalidation, and another costly invalidation right at the end of the session this time, compared to the start of the session. And that's basically it. And you can see now we're nailing the fast chicane into the start of sector 3, as Kevin Zonneberg has absolutely binned it just past us there. As we go into the final sector, there's another car that's flown off into the gravel. It's an Alpine this time, as we are going through this final sector conveniently, quite confidently. I wonder why. It's definitely not because the track is red, but we're going through the final corner now. Don't hit the wall compared to last time, but across the line, it's half a second improved, and it's a 15.6, which again isn't the best. But if you look at the final order in qualifying, we could have done with that, because we are starting 16th in our first race on F125. Now, my PB was probably a 0.5, so we could have been P10. You can see SLR Medal, I was in a party with him. He's managed to get the lap in, and he's starting 10th. And I did tell him that he was going to out-qualify me, because my qualifying execution, as you guys know, is absolutely horrendous. And it seems to be the same old story here at the start of F125. But it's a social race, anything can happen, and judging from qualifying, it's going to be quite a close race. We didn't really put a representative lap in, but we're going to be starting on the hard tyres here today. We're going to see what happens, and we're going to try and go a little bit longer on the first stint and see if we can turn this one around. So, time for the start of the race. The first race in F125, and a step into the unknown for all of us, staring at the 5 red lights. And the lights are out, and we are underway for our first race on F125, and you can see Kevin Sonnenberg does not get off the line at all, as we're all ploughing down towards turn number 1. We're going to try and run the outside of Mattis, who has a bit of a moment there. There's a bit of contact with myself and the Alpine, and Mattis has been spun round, unfortunately. He's facing the wrong way. The sister Alpine of Josh takes advantage, and he goes through into P16. So we're down to 17th at the minute, but we've managed to keep our nose clean, as there is quite a lot of investigating to do throughout this race. Misha has absolutely binned it through turn 5, and that is a safety car deployed on the opening lap of this league racing season for us. So we couldn't even do a sector, and we've got a safety car. So that's quite interesting, as obviously there's been a lot of talk about tyre wear on this game, as we are just catching up to the safety car. You can see Medal has peeled off into the pits. He's got a 10-second penalty for colliding with XPG Flame, who was involved in my lobbies video I made yesterday. Well, by the time of recording, it's yesterday. It'll probably go out tomorrow on the day after, but I digress. Safety car coming in. We're up to P14. Some people had to pit. We've got TTM Placky behind us, but we've got Josh right in front of us as we have a bit of a moment there through the penultimate corner, trying to make sure we get the best run out of the final corner so we can try and pounce on this Alpine as we are racing once again here in Australia, and hopefully we get some proper racing laps under our belt as into turn 1 we go. These tyres are freezing cold, and that's exactly what Josh is proving there. He doesn't get the best run out of turn 2, and we're burning the battery, and to make sure by the time we get to turn 3 on the brakes, we take the position and we're up into P13. So we've gained 3 places already from where we started, albeit there's been a few collisions here and there, but it just seems that right from the jump, keeping it clean is going to be the order of the day, as there's another car off. It's my teammate, Kevin Sonnenberg. Something else has happened to XPG Flame. He's down the order too, and that is a virtual safety car.
Oh,
so
way up the order here.
We're not doing much in this race, but we've gained 5 places, and you can hear me say we're slowly making our way up the order as the full course safety car has been deployed, and we still haven't got any racing laps. We're nearly 8 minutes into the video here, guys, and you guys want to see racing, of course. Well, hopefully we get some this time around, because it's not exactly the best idea of racing, you know, with just safety cars in every opportunity. We're up into P8 because a lot of people pitted. That included some of the McLarens, including Liam Bowman as well, who's part of FRT now, as we get underway again for the second restart of the day. And we're not exactly getting the best of run here on Brent. He manages to eke out a small advantage as we go in towards turn number 1. But now, hopefully, this is where some race laps are going to be done in this video. But unfortunately, we get a penalty. A 3-second penalty. We got 1 warning on lap 4. And unfortunately, we've got our 3rd warning. But I was insisting that it was a double warning through turn 1. Of course, Australia track limits have been a bit of an issue in previous games, where if you go off at turn 4, you can get several penalties at once. And turn 1 is quite tough to nail in the race. But
that's a penalty.
It's a penalty, and you can hear me simply say that, as we just have to take it on the chin and keep moving. On to lap number 9 now. You can see the penalties might be stacking up, and that's to be expected as Brent gets himself a 3-second penalty for track limits. And you heard Mark telling me to pit on lap 9. We've had 2 safety cars, my friend. We're not going to be boxing anytime soon. We might as well carry on with the original strategy, which is to go as long as we can on the hard tyres and move on to mediums for the rest of the race. And you can see now Brent has made a bit of an error through turn 6. He just goes a little bit wider than you would have liked, and now we're going to try and take advantage of it. And you can see he lags back a little bit. I'm a bit baffled in the background, and that's because Well, I'm not too sure, to be honest. We're going to find out in a few moments' time. But we go through the fast chicane, and it looks like Penrose has sent us an invite, which is not the best timing, but we're going to try and see if we can get this move done on Brent. Going into the third sector now, not quite. Brent, you know, he manages to place his car well. We weren't quite alongside him enough to actually make that move and commit to it. As he gets, I think he's got another penalty. No, he hasn't. Oh, he has. He has got another penalty. As Penrose really wanting to invite us here, but we're in the middle of something here, mate. As it looks like the only way we can pass people on this game is if they make a mistake, especially around here, because dirty air is a thing on this game, and we are getting held back a little bit. You can see the dirty air kicked in there through turn 2, as Brent is on the attack against crowding down the inside into turn 3, but he completely overcooks it, and now we're going to take advantage, sweep round the outside, and we will take P7 in his Australian Grand Prix. So the cars behind us are on fresher tyres, and they're not exactly pressing us completely like you would see on last game. If you had a tyre advantage on last game, you would expect to get through as many cars as possible in about 2 or 3 laps, but Bowman has not exactly made the progress he would have liked, along with other cars around him as well. So it seems that it's going to be pretty hard to overtake on this game, which is good, because obviously you don't want a 20-car train for the entire race just for it to go completely chaotic in the final few laps. But we've lost a lot of time behind crowding. You can see there's quite a gap between ourselves and the top 5 at this stage of the race. So we've passed Brent. You can see Plackey has followed through. Brent's actually retired, and that is a 3rd safety car in this race. 3 safety cars, and we're not even at the halfway point. That's pretty impressive.
Good news is, I'm P7 when this has come out. The bad news is, I've got a fucking penalty.
Well, I've made my point there.
Because generally, it was as if it's a crowding express here, man. And I was most certainly on board.
So you can hear me talking to Meadow and my engineer for this race, Shazoo Ogween, as yeah, we were losing a lot of time behind crowding. I don't think his pace looked the best in this race, but we're still behind him as we all make our pit stops. We do get a nice timing of 2.2 by pressing the button at the right time, and we're going to rejoin in P10. So we are in the top 10. Obviously, if this was a proper league race, it will be a point scoring position in TTC, or formerly known as AEC. It would be pretty decently in a points playing position, as the top 14 would score points, but a few cars haven't pitted. And this is going to make the next couple of laps very interesting, because the tyre wear is quite high on this game. So we're all going to have to stop again, but we've got this safety car restart to deal with.
What? Who is slowing this up this much? Right. Oh, it's Liam. Hey, Liam, get on with it, man. What is this? Look at this! I'm barely doing 40 miles an hour. Taking the piss.
2,000 years later.
Well, I'm still alive, I can tell you, but we're finally going in this race, the 3rd time in this Australian Grand Prix. We are underway, and we are going to be racing. Liam Bowman in the lead after pitting earlier for a set of hard compound tyres, and a few other cars have followed him on that same strategy. So I think everyone's going to have to pit again, but we're going to have the tyre advantage for a good number of laps here. So it's up to us to make it happen. Unfortunately, well, that is a RB in the wall. That is MVR David with the most questionable gamer tag I've ever seen. As there's side-by-side action going on ahead of us, it looks like Shazoo Volakongan looking to get stuck in against M-Racer in the sister Red Bull. Only one Red Bull left in this race, and you can see a few people have got penalties, including Mattis behind us, who's recovered from that lap 1 collision. As you can see, crowding goes a little bit slowly through 6, and that brings us just a lot closer to the rear end of that Mercedes car. But obviously we have to be mindful of the ERS usage at this stage of the race. We could obviously burn it all right now and go for the move, but if we end up losing DRS, it won't be worth much for it. So we've got to keep that in mind.
Oh, fuck off, man. First lap of Askin.
But it seems we're not being very mindful about staying on the track, because that is our 2nd time penalty of the race. Another 3-second penalty, adding up to 6 seconds. As you can see now, Volakonga going side by side with another car, going through the final corners, and it looks like it's Flame who's falling down the order.
Oh my. Yeah, people are trying to get past Flame, that's why.
And I quickly put 2 and 2 together there as we nearly fall prey to Mattis there, who looked for a move going into turn 1, but he couldn't quite get it done. And you can see Flame struggling on his older hard tyres. And we need to make this move to keep up with Crowding and Volakongan. So we go inside into turn 3. Flame doesn't put much resistance on it. And it's up to P8 we go in this race. And it's crucial we did that because Mattis will have to sit behind Flame for the rest of Sector 1. But he ends up passing him anyway. We do a 19.5 for our personal best. Only 2 tenths off the fastest lap. So pace was actually okay in the race, I can tell you, but I wasn't really driving with a lot of confidence after qualifying. Didn't go to plan here for the first race. As you can see now, Volakongan still getting locked in with M-Racer going through turns 3 and 4. Can Volakongan pull it off? Not quite. M-Racer leaves out to dry. Crowding finds his way through, takes full advantage. But unfortunately, we just run out of road going into turn number 6. But Volakongan looking to make up a place, ends up losing one. So Crowding profiting from a crucial mistake there from the Shizou driver. And we're looking to see if we can take advantage and add more pain to his lap so far. So going into the fast chicane, David is out. And that is a 4th safety car
12 seconds
of this Australian Grand Prix.
I've got a new set of mediums. That's why I went balanced. Quality, man.
And you can hear me talking to Medal and Ogwin there. I'm telling them that's why I went for the balanced allocation for qualifying. So we have an extra set of mediums to work with. You can see Medal has to box for softs because he has no medium tyres left. Because by having the soft allocation, you sacrifice a set of mediums you're given. So we could use this to good effect here. And maybe push for some higher positions. You can see Mattis has 20 seconds of penalties. 22 to be precise. So the racing standards aren't going to be too high, obviously. Everyone trying to get used to this new game. But we're getting ready for the restart. Now, apparently, I've been told that Volakongan was ghosted. And that might be key for the restart. So as we get underway here for the 4th time in this race.
Oh my god! What the fuck was that? Idiots!
It's a bad one. It's a really bad one. Medal's out of the race. And we've got damage. We've got that completely wrong.
Absolute idiots, man. Just because we don't know how to do a restart. Crazy work.
And that is really infuriating because I really thought we had a good chance of maybe nabbing a top 6 on track. But it's only going to get worse.
Genuinely, how do you not know how to do a restart properly? Oh, wow. Oh, there you go. Yeah, GG's. Honestly.
And just like that, race over. Game over. I'll put my hand up for the incident. It was my fault. I was way too eager to try and pass Volakongan on the restart. And I tried to slow down. And the next minute I knew, I was in the wall recreating Magello from 2020. So I'll put my hand up there. That's my bad. And doing a Sebastian Vettel from 2009 in Australia didn't quite help our case. And that ended our day a little bit early. However, the race pace felt okay in this one. It's not exactly where I want it to be at this point in time, but there was not much to read off because there was 4 safety cars every 3 or 4 laps. So hopefully the next race will be a little bit less chaotic and I'll be able to show you guys the true pace we have compared to everyone else. But so far, I'm really enjoying this game. My hours are quite shameful at this point, but it is a much needed improvement from F1 24 and I think a lot of people feel the same way. But yeah, that's why we do these social races. We're here to learn about the game before the proper season starts. And this one didn't quite go to plan, but we'll make sure we do better in the next one. But in the meantime, make sure you hit the like button, get subscribed for more F1 25 content. Be sure to check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them already. And as always, I hope you guys take care of yourselves. And I will see all of you in the next one.